of time. If in case you fail to attend the classes, do let me know. I will try to
Sure, sir.
give you recording.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think you are in between, but still I will try to recap. So try to understand this.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank
guys, shall we start now? Good morning, everyone. I think there are 7 people in the class. Shall we start? Okay, now this is the third concept of ethics, that is your GS4. We have something called philosophical and psychological basis of ethics. You need to first spend some time on this heading itself. It says philosophical and psychological basis of ethics. Once again, I want to recap what I discussed in the last 3-4 classes. Ethics is about a set of principles, values that helps us in determining doing right, doing wrong. Basically, it is going to help us to find out whether it is right. If in case it is right, when we take a decision, when we do anything, when we perform our responsibilities, when we perform our duty. Like if I'm a police officer, I'm trying to perform my duty. If I'm a teacher, I'm trying to perform my duty. While I perform my duties, while I take any actions, while I perform anything as a part of my duty, as a part of member of the society, etc., how do we differentiate between right and wrong? So ethics is going to find out reasons for ethical practices. First of all, it will tell you why is it called ethics. Why is it called ethics? If somebody is called ethics, ethics means whether it is good or bad. Doing right thing could be ethical standard. So why do we call something as ethics, and what moral standard do we have as a basis to say something is good? When I say something is ethical, what is the moral standard? Moral standard in the sense, on what basis do you say this is good? Do you say this is good on the basis of religion? Do you say this is good based on in your individual opinion? Do you say this is good because your God had told you that this is good? So there could be divine intervention on some people to state that this has to be good, or this is good because it is a God commandment, or it's a divine word, etc., etc. Some people must have developed opinion, just like a philosopher. He must have developed opinion, seeing circumstances, seeing situations, seeing many scenarios. He came to a conclusion, being a philosopher. Like, let it be Aristotle, let it be Plato, let it be, you must have heard about so many philosophers, and these philosophers must have developed an opinion based on the circumstances, based on the situation, that this is ethical and this is ethics because this is the moral standard. See, understand two very important. The confusion chances are more in this paper. GS4 is not that easy to pass. It is easy to understand, but the language, and while you're presenting, you have to summarize yourself so much. Essay paper in mains and ethics paper in mains, if you are able to manage, you're almost out of this mains examination, because other subjects are technical, as I told you several times. So ethics is about doing right. Ethics is about determining what is good, what is bad. Ethics is about determining what is right, what is wrong. If we say something is right, when I say something is right, what exactly is the reason behind saying that right? In the sense, if you say something is ethical, if you say, best example, lying is unethical, let's say. On what basis lying is unethical? On what basis stealing is unethical? On what basis abortion is unethical? On what basis homosexuality is unethical? On what basis gay marriages is unethical? Like this, there are so many current issues. That's why I'm giving you those examples. So when I say something is ethical, something is unethical, what is the moral standard? Did your religion teach you? Did your community teach you? Did your culture teach you? Did your philosopher teach you? Did you come to a conclusion because you had bad experience, or you had experienced that kind of situation because of which you come to a conclusion that that is ethical or non-ethical? What exactly is the reason? So that we are trying to find out moral standard for everything. Moral standard for everything. Just a second. Let me show you videos. One second. Okay, now I think now you're able to see this here. So once again, I'm introducing in my first slide the concept of ethics. It is a moral philosophy that includes standardizing. Saves standardizing in the sense, when you say something is good, tell me on what basis of that it is good. That is very important. How can you just say this is ethical, man? How can you just say this is unethical? How can you just say this is ethical, unethical, unless and until you have a standard reference for it? When I say so and so is the concept, I will definitely tell you so and so author, so and so book, so and so concept, something like this. I will refer and say, okay, according to this man, this is so and so. So ethics is basically a moral philosophy. I also told you ethics are more of related to character. Morals are related to society. What we pick from the society will be moral. Whatever good that we pick from the society, it's going to be called as morals. Understood? Whatever we developed being a person individually, we came to conclusion this is good. I don't know what is good for you may not be good to me. What is good to me may not be good to you. But end of the day, we came to an understanding that this is ethical. Ethics is more of your character, your personality development. Whereas morals are basically set of principles that are already there, that are set by somebody, that are set by religion, that are set by culture, that are set by tradition, that are set by conventions. There are so many things which have actually a bunch of values in our society have told us, beta, this is good. But modern philosophy is completely different. What was good is not good today. What is good today, it wasn't good today. That is a different story. So see that sentence carefully. Read that sentence carefully. It says it is a more ethics is about moral philosophy. From the first lesson I'm summing up now, because third, fourth lesson it takes a lot of time. You have very less number of lessons. Overall, I think some 20 lessons are there. All these 20 lessons, small concepts only, but it takes time. Every concept you have to sit on the concept and understand. It is a moral philosophy that includes standardizing, means for every goodness, we are going to say on basis of what we say it is good. On what basis you say lying is bad? Because lying has led to so many misunderstandings and miscommunication. Therefore, people are expected not to lie. But lying is very sweet, in modern society. See, standardizing in the sense we develop some standards. Why do we say something is bad? Why do we say something is good? On what basis you say something is good? Dig deeper into the concept. If you don't dig deeper into this concept, you will get confused. And if you don't score more than 150, I'm telling you, your aggregate score will be affected. Trust me, you have to take this paper as a basic paper, please. Next one, safeguarding. Whatever we said that it is good, then we have to sustain it, right? See, I told my children, no, don't steal. But where is the guarantee these people are continue to practice that virtue? Where is the guarantee? Where is the guarantee my family members are continuously respecting? Suppose I said respecting elders is good. Okay, where is the guarantee that this kind of statement which I made in my family, that you guys are supposed to respect elders, where is the guarantee this is continued? See that 3 lines only gamut of issues you have. See that it is a moral philosophy that includes standardizing. Ethics is a moral philosophy that will help us to know why do we say something is good, why do we say something is bad. Safeguarding, you need to continue, you need to sustain it. Just because you said something is ethical, if in case that is not followed, just because when situation is in favor you will follow ethics, when situation is not in favor you don't follow ethics. What is ethics, what is not ethics is ultimately dependent on several sources. You and I cannot decide. And what is ethical today might not be ethical tomorrow, and might not be ethical in the next generation. Today you could see what people learn to live. People, instead of worrying about things that have happened in the past, people learn to live, people learn to move on. They're not worried about it, because previously situation, our conservative society, traditional society, religious society, we whenever we do something we always carry that in our mind, oh, I did a mistake. But where is that happening right now? And see one more thing, the last line you see in the first paragraph, and proposing the concepts of right or wrong. So ethics is going to propose you, beta, this is wrong because of this, beta, this is right because of this. For every right, I will give you a reason. For every wrong, I will give you a reason. Those reasons have erupted from different philosophies, different ideologies, different principles. So the concept of being good, the concept of being bad has come from several opinions, several factors, several people. That's what in this third lesson of ethics, you're going to study all those things. Next paragraph. As per modern philosophers, there are 3 areas. This in my previous class also I gave you. From the third chapter, you have more detailed analysis of all these 3. One is meta ethics, as I told you earlier. I mean, ethics has come from 3 important opinions. Regarding ethics, we have, I mean, I'll tell you a simple general language if you want me to use. Where is ethics coming from? How was it evolved? How has it come? It has come from three basic opinions. One opinion is about meta ethics, which is going to talk about meaning of ethics, nature of ethics, origin of ethics. Meta ethics, you must have heard about something called metaphysics, human origin, human evolution. We study, no, there. If in case you are a science people, you must have studied anthropology concept. It is meta ethics is about nature of ethics. It is concerned about nature of ethics. As I told you before, it is concerned about meaning of ethics. It will try to understand and tell you where exactly the concept of ethics has come from. Most importantly, when we started celebrating festivals today, on the day of festival, people say we should wear new clothes. What the hell is this? The modern students and modern young people are saying that what the hell is this? Why should we wear new clothes? Why new? I mean, gods like only new clothes. I mean, in general, gods do not like us other days. Why are we? Because it has been a tradition, it has been a culture, it has been a communal tradition, it has been a convention which was said by philosophers that the worshipping of God in new clothes will definitely please God, which means you are showing a lot of respect to God. So that is, so we wanted to celebrate that festival, whichever religion you belong to, you wanted to celebrate that festival wearing new clothes so that it is pleasing to God, because God feels that, God thinks that you are actually trying to be more pious. So philosophers have developed three important concepts related to ethics. One is meta ethics. This is going to study the meaning of ethics. It is going to study meaning of ethics. It is going to tell you the nature of ethics. It is going to tell you how ethical principles have come from, how ethical principles have evolved. Normative ethics is what ought to be, what kind of a behavior should be, if you want to say something is ethical, how it should be. Normative means we suggest an idealistic situation that an ethical behavior has to be like this. In meta ethics, our basic focus is basically to understand and explain what is the nature of ethics. Whereas in normative ethics, we wanted to suggest better, this is how you're supposed to behave. A conduct, what kind of a conduct, what kind of a behavior, what kind of a character a person has to have when he or she is supposed to be ethical or unethical. That is normative ethics. What ought to be, what it should be. We wanted to suggest better, if you want to be ethical, you should be like this. Over a period of time, there are several opinions on normative ethics also, but today I want to focus half of meta ethics, not even full of meta ethics, half of meta ethics. So first of all, you need to understand there are three approaches of ethics. There are three philosophies of ethics. There are three opinions of ethics. How exactly ethics are studied: meta ethics, normative ethics, applied ethics, in the sense how ethical principles will be applied in our realistic situation. When I work as a teacher, understand? Don't divert the issue here. When I work as a teacher, being a teacher, how am I supposed to be ethical? As I said before, being a teacher, if I want to be ethical, I have to give information that is required to be given without any falsity. If a teacher is able to give the information or a knowledge which is not false, he's not bluffing, he's giving exactly what is true, then he's ethical. So instead of saying that, oh, teacher married somebody, teacher did this, that is different. That is completely individual issues, I'm telling you. Being a teacher, what is my ethical point? Being a doctor, what is my ethical point? Being a professor, what is my ethical point? Being a leader, what is my ethical point? Being a student, what is my ethical point? Applied ethics is how ethical principles are applied in different situations. Suppose you want to protect the environment. If you want to protect the environment, what should we do? Being a government, being a public, what are we supposed to do to protect the environment? To protect them, so we should ensure that pollution has to be reduction of the pollution is definitely an ethical concept in applied ethics. And if you want to, suppose there are 2 3 countries like India, China, Pakistan, now they are having a lot of cold war, they have a lot of differences. Going for war is unethical, not going for war is ethical. So in that political situation, how do you apply ethical principle? First you have to try for peace. If in case peace doesn't work, if in case peace doesn't, today defense minister categorically said very clearly, if to have a peace you should be courageous enough to fight also. If in case a person who cannot fight cannot have a peace, same thing. So applied ethics is like how ethical principles will be applied in our respective lives, in our respective situations, in our respective professions, occupations, etc. Sit on the subject for some time and make sure that you understand clearly, so that when you're writing, when you're presenting, you can easily manage. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So what is meta ethics? Overall view, I'm telling you this, though I explained before. Once again, I'm giving you, make sure you write the notes. If you're not writing the notes, you're not listening to my class. Make sure you write the notes, and do not simply listen. Make sure, if in case you are listening to my class through a phone, use headphones or earphones, and always have a notebook and pen readily with you, and keep writing, keep writing. Sometimes you can think more than me. Whatever you think more than me, you have to write. Okay, now look at this. This clearly says what metaethics does. So there are how many approaches? We have three. Metaethics, which is going to study nature of ethics, meaning of ethics. Normative ethics, which is going to suggest how a behavior has to be, how a person has to be. Applied ethics, how we apply ethical principles in our respective professions. That is why next, most of the case studies you have all civil servants related. I'm going to discuss case study because every class I have to discuss case study also. Okay, everybody clear? So what meta ethics does? See there, it analyzes the origin. It analyzes the origin. Origin is a keyword here. Next one, it analyzes the meaning. Meaning is a keyword. It analyzes the origin, meaning. See here, origin, meaning. That means meta ethics is more concerned about where ethics have come from and what is the meaning of that ethics. Next, whether they are simply from social. I mean, has ethics come from our society? Has it been invented by our society? I hope you're all sensing what I'm talking, right? Yeah. Next one, do they involve more emotions? Is ethical principle, are ethical principles are the emotions of us? Did it come from the society? Did it come from the individual? What is the meaning of so and so ethics? When we say lying, what is the meaning of this? When we say prostitution is immoral, why is it immoral? As long as the person who's doing it is so what you call so happy, and why do you call this as unethical? Who the hell are you to define something is unethical when he himself or she herself is doing it? There are many questions raising like this nowadays. Next 20-30 years, I'm telling you, most of the laws are going to be transformed like anything in the world. I'm telling you, will not see. Now you see in Thailand recently they passed an act that men can convert themselves into women, and that is allowed. So you might say, from if you're if you're a typical Indian person, we do everything, but we are so religious. You know what? We are hypocrites. I'm sorry to use this word on Indians. Most of us, irrespective of which religion we belong, I'm telling you, all the three religions are hypocrites. That's okay. Human instinctions are different. You can't escape human instinctions, right? No, whatever. So does it come from society? Does it come from emotions? Whether they are universal, in the sense, are they applicable everywhere? How can you apply ethical principles everywhere here? What is ethical in America is not ethical in India. What is ethical in North India might not be ethical in South India. What is ethical in Georgia may not be ethical in Turkey. So we wanted to find out whether ethical principles that we have come up, will they be applicable? Universal means typical general language. Universal means will they be applicable everywhere? Will they be applicable everywhere? Clear? So now you understand, all these points will give you an idea so that you will not forget. Next one, are they coming from God? So see, now there are four things. Carefully understand, there are four things. Number one, is ethics coming from society? Is ethics coming from emotions of the individuals? Most of the ethics have come from emotions of the individuals and then society. And some ethics which have come from society have turned out to be laws also, for your kind information, in India. What is ethical, have been given a status of law. That is an unfortunate thing in India. How can you simply give a society value or this one, because majority of the people, but today the same majority of the people are rejecting. People are thinking in this way. 7 years before, Supreme Court gave a judgment, gay marriages are not valid. And after 3 years, Supreme Court only said gay marriages are valid. Then Supreme Court realized that it is a fundamental right, we can't restrict people. And 10 years before, extramarital relations have been treated as a reason for applying for a divorce. And afterwards, Supreme Court says a woman cannot apply for a divorce, saying that her husband has extramarital relation or something. What was, so the Supreme Court itself is going ahead of changes, right? Most of the cases, what happens, the things which we have received from God, we follow when we are in trouble. When we are not in trouble, we don't follow. Gods will be taken for granted. But I'm telling you, if something is strongly rooted in your mind as an individual person, you will never go away from this. Trust me. Yes, you might not follow society related, you might not follow what is there coming from God, your assumption itself, but what is emotionally that you built in your personality, you will not, you will, many people are like, good or bad, negative or positive, right or wrong, when you believe that this is right, no matter what, you will move on, right? Mostly this is happening right now. But anyway, meta ethics is going to tell us what is the meaning of ethical terms, where is it coming from, is it coming from social norms? Is it coming from emotions of the individuals, expressions of the individuals, behavior of the individual, psychological patterns of the individuals? Is it applicable everywhere? What is the reason? Why are we value judgment in this? Why are we saying this is right? Why are we saying this is wrong? Just spend some time on this 6-7 points, please. You will understand this.
Sir, I'm
Yeah,
asking.
tell me.
Sir, if society declares something wrong, then that becomes unethical, right?
If society declares something wrong, society must have declared based on the circumstances. Unless and until it is law, we don't need to follow. But the stigma that you have, suppose you go to your you bring your boyfriend every day to your house, let's say. What your neighbor thinks, always see that lady. As long as you ignore, as long as it is is not unlawful, as long as you are conscious about this thing, nothing happens, right? Because the moment we started thinking that society is thinking about us, you are done. So whatever declared by society need not be followed unless and until there is a law status for it, right?
Okay, then how about the personal opinions and personal life? Like we have a director, Ram Gopal Verma. He
Uh,
always speaks against the society.
uh,
So can I say that he is unethical person?
who
Ram Gopal Verma, RGV.
he is no society, no social law says this is unethical. Tell me, whatever he's talking, what is the truth, right? From his perspective,
Yes, of
whatever
course,
is the
but
truth, whatever is the truth is talking. See, when Rangopal Verma,
okay,
when he was giving interview, he was talking about women's sexuality one day on TV9. The reporter also was asking questions. He
yes,
expressed his opinion. On what basis his opinion is unlawful? Who are you to decide his opinion is unlawful? Unless and until talking that has already turned out to be law. If there is an existence of law and his talk is violation of that law, you can definitely say, boss, as per this, it's stating unethical is okay. Where is the standard for it? That's what I'm telling you. Where is the
okay,
standard to discertify that whatever I or he spoke is unethical? That is why he's talking.
okay.
In other words, from an Indian constitution perspective, we will say it's a freedom of speech. But the same thing you apply to Arnab Goswami now. Arnav
Yes,
Goswami, so he's not arrested for what he spoke today. He was arrested for 2 years suicide case. Their grudge is basically he's talking, he's
okay.
expressing his opinion on so and so political party differently, but they did not arrest him on the basis of this. I mean, whatever he speaks, can you substantiate saying that there is a standard based on which we declare is unlawful? Meta ethics main objective is we are not going to judge why is it, we are not going to judge which is good, which is bad. We are going to decide why is it good, why is it bad. Try to understand why is it good, what is good, why is
So
it bad.
society cannot decide what.
No, meta ethics is going to find out different
So society
seasons.
cannot decide whether
Society cannot, repeat once again.
society cannot decide what is ethical and not ethical.
Obviously, unless and until law, the judiciary system has decided, society can decide. Society will definitely give you moral values. I'm not saying that. Society will decide, but society cannot punish a person, declare something as unethical unless and until there is a law background, right? But however, there are many things where we got
Okay.
from society. See, this meta ethics is going to study how many ethical values have come from society, how many ethical values have come from emotions of individuals, how many ethical values have we received from God, and what are these terms, etc. etc. Meta ethics is going to investigate all these things. Then you will understand, suppose some values have come from society, some values have come from individuals, some values have come from the religious textbooks, etc. From these three, which is playing a major role? Most of the ethical values we are actually basing on religious textbooks, and whatever has come from society over a period of time, they have completely changed. They have changed. Okay, just a second. I think it's okay. No, can you see this now? I think there was a net issue, but can you see now? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's continue. What does normative ethics is concerned? So I told you there are three approaches. Meta ethics. I'm going to go deeper into meta ethics afterwards. I just want to know. I just want you to know what are these three. First of all, meta ethics is going to research. Is going to do research. Is going to identify. Is going to investigate where does ethics come from. Does it come from our society? If so, to what extent? Does it come from the religious textbooks, so-called God? Instead of using religion, you use the word God. Okay, spiritual related something. Then does it come from individual emotions? So several ethics have come from all the three sources, no doubt. So what is the basis for it? We are going to study now, why are we taking, most of the philosophers have said many things have come from God. In meta ethics, we're going to identify in detail. Now foregoing chapters will be like that only. The next important thing is, what does normative ethics? I told you normative ethics is going to tell you it should be like this. It to determine moral standards that decide right or wrong. In the sense, when I say something is right, I have a strong proof and evidence that this has to be right because this is the moral standard. I say don't steal because when you steal, other people will have a negative impact on their life. They lose their property, they lose their movable or immovable property. So therefore, stealing is not good. So you should not steal. Why am I making a statement? You should not steal because stealing for you it is fun. For you it is an asset addition, but for others it's a negative impact. So in more normative ethics, we are simply concerned about what should be the right thing, what should be the right thing, what should be the good habit, what should be the bad habit. So I'll tell you simply what should be the behavior of a person in the society, what should be the habit of a person living in the society, what should be the standard based on which we decide right or wrong thing. So normative ethics is mostly concerned about determining good habits to the people, determining good behaviors to the people, good conduct, good behavior, good conduct, good behavior, good habits. Best example, you have a hobby of smoking, very nice, you smoke in the public place, so that habit is actually having a negative impact. So normative science said you should not smoke in public place. So making a statement you should not smoke in public place is a normative statement. Okay, you should not walk, you should not, when you're driving the car, when you're driving the vehicle, you're not supposed to drive rashly. So we are trying to suggest a behavior which will not have a negative impact on this. In normative ethics, we are going to suggest that this has to be your behavior, this has to be your hobby. See, they are acquired to perform duty. What kind of a behavior, what kind of a habit you should acquire when you perform your duties? That is what normative science talks about, what it should be, what it ought to be, what kind of a behavior we are going to suggest. Spend some time on this. We're going to suggest the behavior, we're going to suggest the conduct. We will afterwards find out we have to behave like this because of this standard. Meta ethics studies things as they are. It will try to explain where is it coming from, what is it, etc. But normative science, okay boss, you come to know, finally I'm telling you this has to be your behavior. Understood? Next, when it comes to applied ethics, as I told you before, we analyze current problems and we try our level best to apply ethical. So application of ethical principles in several situations and deciding this is unethical, ethical is applied ethics. Meta will tell you origin and nature of ethics. Normative will tell you what kind of a behavior you should develop, what kind of a habit you should develop, what kind of a conduct you should have, what kind of a character you should have. Applied ethics is that there are several situations, several scenarios, several circumstances. In all the circumstances which you encounter, in all the circumstances which you face, what kind of ethical principles are you supposed to follow? What kind of ethical principles are you supposed to follow? That is what applied ethics. Got it? I hope you're copying. So how ethical here, how ethical principles applied in realistic situations, how ethical principles applied in realistic situations. Now, having said that, I gave you, now there are three ethics is going to give you standards to decide right or wrong. It is a set of principles which will make a distinction between right or wrong. Now there are three approaches. Meta ethics is going to study the nature and origin of ethics. Where does it come from? Why ethics is called ethics? What is the meaning of it? Why do you call this as ethical, and where does it come from? The next important thing is normative. Normative clearly says what kind of a behavior or a character or a conduct is expected from a person. All right. Next, applied ethics in any situation. In any situation, let it be, see here, abortion related. What kind of ethical principles we should apply? Infanticide, baby killing, right? Capital punishment, death punishment, environmental protection, animal rights related, homosexuality related, nuclear war, etc., etc. So many things. So how ethical principles are going to be applied in sorts. Okay, let's quickly move on to the next slide. Now I'm going to focus more on meta ethics for today and tomorrow, because today at least half let me finish. Slowly, dead slow you go. Make sure you understand, because there is a possibility you may have a question on meta ethics philosophy or meta ethics contents or nature, etc., etc. So first of all, you need to understand this is a term wherein we are trying to find out the origin. I already made my point very clearly. Where does it come from? Does it come from the emotions of the individual? So there is a concept in metaethics for that. Slowly understand. Does it come from individual emotions? There is a concept for it. Does it come from God? There is a concept for it. Does it come from society? There is a concept for it. There are terms for it. So that's why when you directly read the material, 100% you will get confused. Use these slides also properly. That means for everything, what comes from God, there is a name. What comes from individual, there is a name. What comes from society, there is a name. Understood? So meta ethics is going to investigate, is going to find out, is going to define where does it come from. And for each origin, they have given some explanation. See, for simple meaning, I said, first of all, what I said here, it studies the meaning and origin of ethical concepts. That is clear? Next one, it covers the issues of moral semantics to moral epistemology, terms, semantics, nature of moral values. Semantics in the sense Bihar culture is, semantics is more of, as far as my knowledge is concerned, semantics is mostly related to culture, nature. Bihar culture is different, Andhra culture is different, Telangana culture is different, Kannada culture is different. So we try to understand moral values of different semantics, different cultures. See, first of all, moral values may come from culture, and cultures are different. So moral values vary from culture to culture. So they wanted to actually study this. And it is concerned with metaphysical and psychological issues. There are two, under meta ethics, there are two things. Meta ethics related to metaphysical, origin related, meta ethics related to psychological. Again, there are concepts below. First of all, you understand meta ethics has two important concepts. One is meta ethics, metaphysical, meta ethics with respect to metaphysical, meta ethics with respect to psychological issues. Then meta ethics deals with the existence of morality. Was there an existence of morality? Yes. In relation to humans, whether morality is independent of him. I mean, if in case there were moral values, was it separate from human beings, or is it a part of human beings? Was it there from the beginning, or has it been evolved over a period of time because of the circumstances human beings have seen? Were moral values existing without the intervention of humanity, which means were they existing because of the God, because of the spiritual related issues? It will study. Next, so basically there are two things here. Try to understand this. Meta ethics may we have got two, right? Metaphysical and meta psychological, right? Metaphysical and meta psychological. Meta ethics is going to deal with two important issues: metaphysical, meta psychological issues. Metaphysics deals with existence of morality in relation to humans. That means whether moral values were a part of human civilization or they were not a part of human civilization, but they somehow came from heaven. Metaphysics origin. I mean, whether moral values were a part of human existence, whether moral values were a part of human civilization, whether moral values were invented, discovered, introduced by humans, or they are independent. See there, whether morality is independent of humans or not. When I say morality is independent of humans or not, in the sense, was it a part of human civilization, human culture, or has it come from differently completely? That is metaphysics. So metaphysics, meta ethics content wanted to know whether moral values have come from human beings. Understood? Next one, physical issues. So physical issues deals with mental basis of moral psychological issues deals with mental basis of moral judgments. Simply speaking, metaphysics talk about, is there any connection to humans? Is it independent? Psychological things, human judgments, conduct of the human beings have given us an idea that this is ethical, this is not ethical. Metaphysics is independent of humans. Psychological, it is related to humans. So if you want to simplify these two concepts, meta ethics with relation to metaphysics might be independent of humans. So what all ethical values, what all moral principles that were not a part of human beings, we're going to study in meta ethics. Whereas meta psychological, we deal with human emotions, human judgments. I mean, it is the mentality of a person, mental status of a person, which has actually made people to think ethical. So first in this slide, overall, I wanted to understand two important things. Meta ethics has got two very important approaches. One is metaphysics, which deals with whether moral values are a part of humans or not. If it is independent, to what extent they are independent. So metaphysics is going to talk about moral values are independent from humans or not. Next, meta psychological deals with psychology. Psychology means has it come from mental opinions, mental emotions of the people? Simply speaking, if it has come from human brain, human emotions, that is meta psychological. If it has not come from human basis, that is metaphysics. In what way it is related to humans, if in case there is independence, right? I hope you have written. Now look at this. Overall, I'm giving you metaphysical issues. So first of all, you want to go, now looking at this, you have to go back to the previous slide. What is the previous slide says? Meta ethics has got two approaches to understand where ethical principles have come from. Meta ethics has two approaches to understand where ethical principles have come from. If it has come from the mind of human beings, conduct of the human beings, we call it as meta psychological ethics. Am I clear? Simplify the language. If it is independent of humans, if it is independent of humans in the sense moral values that we usually follow in our day-to-day society have not come from humans. Got my point? Have not come from humans. So meta ethics has two elements here: metaphysics, meta psychological ethics. Psychology means human mentality, right? You can easily, if you know the word psychology, then you can easily find out physics. Physics is about meta ethics, which is independent of humans or not. Psychological issues are basically which has come from the mental basis, moral judgment. Over a period of time, conduct of human beings have decided that this is ethical, this is not ethical. So I come to a conclusion. Metaphysics is going to study whether ethics are independent from human beings. Psychological ethics is going to study that ethics have come from, to what extent ethics have come from human character, human conduct, human behavior. See here, sometimes when you believe that it is ethical, but it is not ethical to me, that means it is your psychology that something is ethical. Maybe you stand by that. Even if I try to convince you that is not ethical, you change your behavior also, you will come to a conclusion, no, it is ethical only. I believe honestly, this is my personality. But sometimes ethics have come, so most of the metaphysics ethics must have come from God, must have come from other than humans, right? That's what the feeling of ethics has come from different areas. Understand this slide carefully. So in metaphysical ethics, we have basically what? One second. We have basically what? Two important things. Okay, objectivism, relativism. You must be very clear. Let it take time. It's okay. That's why I manage class only for 50 minutes. Don't worry, because these kind of concepts in bits and pieces you have to learn. First of all, tell me what is metaphysical. When you think of metaphysical, what do you understand? Can somebody answer my question? What do you mean by metaphysical? Metaphysical. Yes, Naina, can you answer my question? What do you mean by metaphysical? Naina, I want answer from you. Naina, are you there?
It says.
It says.
It says the nature of ethics.
It says.
Whether it is a good or bad.
Whether it is.
Nature of ethics.
Metaphysical issues, not meta-ethics. Meta-ethics is going to talk about nature of ethics. Metaphysical issues. Hemant, tell me. Hemant, are you there? Hemant. 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 Who's this? Divyashri, tell me. Divyashri. Divyashri, can you tell me what do you mean by metaphysical ethics? Divyashri, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what do you mean by what do you understand? You tell me in simple language, whatever you understand. Metaphysical issues means what? I will display the previous slide also. So based on that, you tell me. Tell me. Metaphysical means what do you understand? If you want the material which I gave you, I will also show you metaphysical. You're able to see the screen, right? Yeah. Don't misunderstand anything. Metaphysics. Metaphysics deals with the branch. See here is that branch of philosophy which studies about the kinds of things existing in the universe. The universe consists of some things in physical form. Metaphysics deals with most of the things in universe may be existing in the form of rocks, stones, hills, mountains, whatever it is, while some people think non-physical nature such as thoughts, spirits, gods. So things are of two types. Non-physical is our thoughts, our spirits, our gods, and physical things is so on. So that we are going to study. Now my basic question is here, meta. The word meta indicates after or beyond, which indicates meta ethics includes removed or panoramic view of entire project of ethics. Meta ethics may be referred to as study of origin, meaning of ethics. Yeah, there's a power disturbance. Understood. So that's why conclusion I gave here. The clear-cut conclusion I gave you. What does it clearly says? So it says it deals with the existence of morality in relation to humans, whether morality is independent of humans or not. That means moral values have come from humans or not. So metaphysics is mostly related to moral values might not come from humans, but psychological issues believe that moral values have come from conduct of humans. Moral judgments given by humans, conduct of humans have actually given us an idea that there is an so psychological issue, meta-psychological deals that moral values must have come from mental picture of a human beings. Got it? Whereas metaphysics is this. Okay, next slide, if you could see slowly, you need to spend some time. If you don't understand, don't move on to the next slide. It's okay. Let one slide take one class, no issues. Okay, metaphysical issues. Now I'm repeating now. Metaphysical issues deals with moral values might not have come from humans. They're independent of humans. They're independent of humans in the sense they have not come from the conduct or mindset of humans. You do anything, please don't forget this. There's nothing wrong in spending on one concept of 1 hour instead of unnecessarily reading 10 concepts without understanding anything. I've been a theory teacher for the past 22 years. I know how to attack theory. Trust me. And in all the three degrees, I'm a gold medalist. So many times I told you, because this is the technique. You need to sit on the concept for somebody. You force yourself. Because in exams like this, unless you force yourself and sacrifice, nothing happens. Metaphysical issues are telling you, beta, moral values haven't come from human behavior. If in case they have come from, we wanted to say whether they're independent or not. Whereas metapsychological we'll see later. Metapsychological says, beta, moral values have definitely come from human conduct or human behavior. Human beings over a period of time, based on their conduct, they have declared that this is ethical, this is not ethical. You have to understand, because otherwise, on the 180 marks, I challenge, I will make you score. If you strictly follow my method of teaching and my method of learning. Once again, I'm going, you see, before. Metaphysics deals with the existence of morality in relation to humans. Okay? Whether morality independent of humans or not. Whether morality is independent in the sense, is it connected to humans or not connected to humans? So in metaphysical issue, meta-ethics has two important. Metaphysical, meta-ethics. So meta-ethics mein metaphysical is a part, right? So meta-ethics of metaphysical branch is going to deal with two important things: objectivism, relativism. Part A, section A of ethics paper, you should have a subject knowledge. Please do understand it. Section B you can manage easily, but section A you should always be very careful. Today's case law I will cover it in the next class, but today let me focus on these two principles. Got my point? Otherwise I'll read the case law. Let me finish this slide. Yes. I'm reading, see, metaphysics, see carefully please, metaphysics studies the kinds of things existing in the universe. Universe consists of things in the form of physical form, rocks, mountains, hills, things, etc. And non-physical such as thoughts, spirits, gods. So people have two perceptions. What you see, what you can't see. What you see is right now in front of me, there's a window. What I see is physical. What I can't see, what I can't spirit. Did you ever see? Looking at the Bollywood, Hollywood, Telugu movies, don't come to a conclusion that is so and so. So, I mean, metaphysics studies kinds of things which are there in the universe in two forms. What we can see, what we can't see. What we can't see is our feeling, is other. So, can you see the feeling of others? Can you see the thoughts of others? Can you see the spirits? Can you see God? Yes, these are all. Maybe books have told us that somebody somewhere 10,000 years before they have seen. But these days, so I don't. If somebody says, also don't believe only, because gods have been fed up with human activities. They don't want to come and unnecessarily insult themselves so much. I don't know. I made a statement in that way. You please understand. Yes. Everybody clear? Now, next way, its meta-ethic content tries to find out moral values exist as eternal truths. So please understand this. So finally, shall I tell you, meta-ethics, metaphysical content, meta-ethics, metaphysical content says ethical values come from eternal. Eternal in the sense, external. External in the sense, come from heaven. Somebody said that I saw God, so God gave me this, so therefore I'm writing this book. Even Hindu religion, Christianity, Islam, everywhere, some prophets, some sages, some saints have written down something because they had an experience with the God. They had, whether they had or not, we don't know. Let me tell you very frankly, let me technically put it, whether they had seen the God, they had an interaction with God, we don't know. Whatever they have read, then we are following. But ultimately what they have read is not to devastate human beings, right? They have written something which is for the sake of humans only, no? All right. Yes. Look at this. There are two important directions of metaphysical component of metaphysical component of metaethics. One is worldly things, worldly, otherworldly in the sense not related to world, heaven, sky, space, God, spirit, etc. Worldly in the sense worldly related. Worldly means this world in the sense related to this world, other world in the sense other world which you have never seen. We always visualize after that we'll go. If you go also, you can't come back. You can't call people and say that you are there in the other world. So see that people believe in otherworldly things, believe moral values are objective. So objectivism is there, no? So any moral values which have come from above, any moral values which have come from gods, any moral values which have come from supreme power which we have never seen, that is called objective concept of moral values. Please save your life and save my life now. I'm going to one more. Metaphysical issues have got two. Objectivism matlab moral values came from where? Otherworldly. See, they exist in, so once again I'm writing it, they exist in spirit like beyond subjective. Subjective means human personality. Objective in the sense they are not connected to human personality. So I want you to understand metaphysical, meta ethics has two very important elements. One is objective. Objective concept clearly says moral values have not come from the humans. Moral values have come from above. I don't think so this much of clarity anybody can give you than me. Understood? Next, they believe moral values are eternal, means coming absolute, and this is very, you cannot change such moral values which have come from above. When God has given you moral values, other world has given moral values, other world has given moral values and ethics, and how can you change, man? So tell me now, what is the concept of objective when we believe that moral values have not come from the individuals, they are not subjective, they're not subjective, they cannot be changed, they have come from eternal spirit or God, whatever. And therefore, since they have come from God, since they are not created by human beings, they are universal because they have not been created by humans. They were not on the basis of conduct of the people. They were not on the basis of psychology of the people. Therefore, they are universal. They are universal. I hope now you got that connection. Metaphysical, meta ethics has two dimensions where ethical values have come from. Am I confusing? I'm not confusing. First thing is objectivity. What that concept believe? Objectivity concept clearly believes, like otherworldly concept clearly believes that the ethical values and moral values have come from above. They're not under the control of human beings. They have not come from the conduct of human beings. Therefore, these are absolute and these cannot be changed and these are applicable everywhere. Thought process. You need to think a lot. Please. Never ever feel exhausted. I'm telling you, this kind of concepts, you have to show more passion, more interest. Next one, you see, it's a Plato is famous for this. I mean, Plato and some other people during his time, they have compared moral values with mathematical rules. He gave a simple example. When I say 1 plus 1, 2, this 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 will be there everywhere, not only in India. North India, 1 plus 1 will not become 4. South India, 1 plus 1 will not become so and so, right? Yes. Yes. So Plato, he said that values, moral values, ethics, which came from God, which came eternally, they are absolute, they are applicable, they cannot be changed, they are universal, just like mathematical principles applied everywhere. They are applied everywhere. I think I made my point very clear. When you say 2 plus 2 is 4 in India, then 2 plus 2 will be 4 only in Australia. It cannot become 6.5. When the God has sent something and said, this is the moral value that is to be for all humans, you idiots, all humans are supposed to follow this, then that is final, universal. That's what the belief. Objectivity is the meaning of that. Objectivity is the meaning of this. This internet is troubling here. Got my point? Yes. Next slide you see. According to Plato and others, moral values are absolute truths which have come from above. They're abstract, spirit-like things. Some spirit has given us. Some spirit appeared to saint. Some spirit appeared to so-and-so sage. Some saint appeared to so-and-so human being who are very righteous. And that fellow has been told by God everything. Beta, this is what. Then that fellow nicely started writing a book and he gave the world saying that, boss, I'm not saying this is moral. The person above has told us this is moral. So they are eternal spirit-like subjects. See, I made my points very simple. Some people believe they are divine commands, God commands. This is also called voluntarism, and it's a divine theory. God simply wills and they become real. God has a will, and that became reality. That's what they believe. God infused life into humans, and moral values also that he gave. And many medieval philosophers also support. Most of the medieval philosophers and ancient philosophers honestly believed that some spirit is there, beyond human being comprehension, beyond your comprehension, my comprehension, beyond your comprehension, my comprehension. అంటే in Telugu language we call it as మన ఆలోచన శక్తికి మించి ఏదో ఉంది. Even modern civilization is definitely thinking. So that Shakti has given us lot of principles which are turned out to be moral principles, which are absolute, which are abstract, which are spirit-like, and they are universal. Nobody can change, no change. They don't vary from place to place. Understood? If Hinduism is there in India, if Hinduism is also there in Indonesia, in Thailand, in other places, wherever Hinduism is there, Hinduism principles will remain same. Buddhism principles will remain same. Christian principles will remain same. At the most, our culture might be different, but the principles, moral values will remain same. No doubt about it. I hope you understood. If somebody is clear, please say yes. Please say yes. Type yes or say yes. Something, please. Oh, girls, boys, did you understand what I said? These 2 slides about objectivity. Please type as. You need to be interactive. Don't go out of the class. Some of you, internet I think is not very good. My internet also has the problems, but if you, in case you go back, keep joining back again. You need to join back again, please. Don't simply take this as an opportunity and get out of the class. Okay? Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the response. And now let us see the next slide. 5 more minutes. Worldly approach. Other worldly approach believe that the moral values have come from spirit-like, God-like, divine-like, eternal-like. Understood? They're absolute, they're applicable. Now, world-like opposite, you think. What is there? I'm making your life very simple. Mostly introduced by Greek philosopher Sextus Empiricus. He was the first man to talk about worldly. These Greek people are always like, they themselves used to declare as gods. They never believed in God. That's why big pagodas, big pyramids they used to construct, and their culture is little different, man. They have developed something called nothing above is going to save you. Only your king will save you. Only your ruler will save you, etc., etc. They used to declare. They're funny comedy people, I'm telling you. But such a comedy, they have erected big pyramids, big constructions, big statues. Oh my God, what not? Amazing culture. You want to understand human beings those days, how actually they projected themselves are bigger than God. Egyptians believes in philosophical tradition. They rejected spirit-like origin. They say no God, nothing. They believe in moral values are purely human inventions. That's it. So worldly approach, under metaphysical ethics, worldly approach clearly says human value, human interventions have been more this one. So I mean to say, otherworldly or objective, worldly or relativism. So finally, you have to come to 2 conclusions. What do you mean by relativism concept? Relativism concept clearly says moral values have not come from God. It has come from human interventions. Whereas objectivity concepts clearly says moral values have come from other world, the world which we have never seen, the world which was said by some people. So it's like this metaphysical ethics. Maybe we've got 2: objectivism, relativism. Objectivism believe that moral values have not come from human conduct, have come from God, spiritual, etc. Whereas relativism says, relativism is worldly approach. It says it has come from human interventions. Who told us what is good, what is bad? Only humans. Because they believe that humans never had an interaction with the God, or human beings never had an interaction with spirit, etc., etc. Human beings, based on their conduct, based on their behavior, they came to a conclusion. Understood? That is one thing. So overall, moral relativism approaches has got 2 important things. Moral relativism has got 2 important things: individual relativism, cultural relativism. Individual in the sense, under moral relativism, again we have 2 concepts. Individual create their own moral standards. Culture in the sense, individuals created, but they have taken from society. Naina, Girls, boys, don't get confused. Relativism believes that it is the human who gave you moral values. That is clear. Under relativism, what exactly came from you alone? Individual alone is individual relativism, but you designed values based on the culture. You only designed, but you picked it from where? Culture. That is cultural relativism. Objectivism says everything came from above. Relativism says everything came from humans. Individual relativism, absolutely, it has come from you. You created based on your observation. Whereas cultural relativism, you did not create on your own. You created, but you only. Suppose I'm teaching some moral values. Suppose if I'm teaching moral values, I'm not creating on my own. I have seen the culture of India based on the culture from my religion, from my community, from my society. I'm creating. That is cultural relativism. Got it? Material is not very clear. Please, I urge you to copy the slides. Yes. So once again, objectivism means philosophers believe that moral values have come from eternal God, divine commands, etc. Relativism is moral values have not come from God, have come from individuals. Individuals must have developed this on their own, that is individual. On the basis of the culture they live in, that is cultural relativism. So cultural also individual only, but culture has given idea. So therefore, look here, skepticism and relativity rejects absolute and universal. So relativity concept and skepticism concept rejected that moral values cannot be applied everywhere. Cannot be applied everywhere in the sense cannot be universal. Universal means objectivity concept believe that since the moral values have come from God, they are applicable everywhere. Skepticism and relativity concepts saying that since they have not come from God, since they have come from individual, it will vary from place to place. See there, society to society. Say for example, regarding homosexuality, European countries, full favorable laws they have, whereas in India we don't have. No. Polygamy, many wives, having many wives, some countries have mentally accepted, but India don't accept, but India will have. In India is a variety country. I'm sorry to insult this culture, but unfortunately, you are all civil servants. I can't do anything. India has a great culture, no doubt, but unfortunately, we have got hypocritic culture. Ours is a great culture, but we say no, but we practice. Like bigamy is not allowed. Having two wives, is it allowed in India? But I will show you almost 40% of the people having this. Yes, this practice is there, but people don't deny officially. Like let's say some big group, good IIT coaching center, big group, he has got officially 3 wives. I mean, simple example I'm telling you, but there are many. So we say something and we do something. That is the only criticism. Otherwise, one of the best culture, your culture, don't worry, okay? Yeah, psychological issues in this one. This I will cover it in the next class, please. You have a next class at 11:30, geography. Please attend the class. We will cover this in the next class. Can I stop here now? Yes. Yes, somebody say yes, please. Be interactive here. Yes, sir. Okay, chalo. Thank you. Good day. Bye.